Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Did you just stop? Music stopped. It felt like it stopped. No, it's still going. Okay, good. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so today we're supposed to be working on issues 1 and 2. And I actually want to start messing with some of the setup and rig that we've got going on for this. Because we still have some we sort of have, can it be Friday? No, it can't be Friday. I'm sorry, Brent. It's just sadly Tuesday. But that's good, because if it was Friday, I would have lost all these days where I had all this work to do. And it would suck. So we're going to work on, let's get to work. We got a couple of things that I'm kind of thinking about that I'm not ecstatic about. And we can't start doing actual pages until all of these are settled in. The good news is these 2 pages up here probably could be done relatively quickly. Oh yeah, you could be leaving for Florida in the morning. Now, you're going to be in Florida all next week, huh? So like you'll be in Florida and even further ahead. So it'd be midnight when our show starts in Florida. Ugh, that's even worse. Just thinking that through, and I'm like, well, so our first week at nights, you're not going to be there at all. You'll get to see us on the repeat. I mean, it's not like you're going to miss the show. We're just going to miss you. So, okay. So what we're doing today is going to work on the layout and design pages still, because we're behind on these. And the reason we're behind on these is because I'm stuck right here. This is where I'm stuck. These 4 pages right here. And I'll tell you why I'm stuck. Because if you look at the actual arc of this particular episode, so this episode right here has all of these 5 pages in the normal zone right here. Right? So let's give ourselves a little bit more pin, right? So we're all here for these 5 pages, right? Then we go here where the stress of the story sort of does a spike like this all of a sudden, right? So on we're coming in on now page 6, and all of a sudden we have this spike of stress. And then we're here where it goes back down to here for this page, right? And then for these 2 pages, it stays there, coming back up to a spike like that there. And so I'm trying to kind of figure out, is that okay? Or should I just move all of it over so that it all spikes here and stays spiky all the way through? Which is kind of what I'm thinking I might want to do. So that's what kind of came to me last night. And I was like, well, maybe that's not a bad idea. So in other words, take this page and swap it so that it's here. And then take these 3 pages and move them over. The problem we've got is there's no, this scene is, we're here with Bennett and Chang, And this is Bennett and Chang. And this over here is the Sergeant and Mayrell. Hello, Hone. That's probably a good idea. It's better that way. And besides, she's pretty cool. I like her. She's nice. She takes care of you. So I'm okay with that. You just stay with her. She knows what she's doing. So she's taking care of you. It's all goods. So you can hang with us. You can hang with her. Whichever one goes with you, we're good. We'll be here. However it goes. I'm okay with either one of those. So we're still talking about whether I want to mess with this or not. I'm not even. Yay, dinner. So I have been doing what's called intermittent fasting, which means that I don't eat now before lunch because I'm trying to lose some of this padding here because I'll be 50 this year and I can't stay overweight much longer without it being super bad for my health. So I'm trying to lose the weight. And so I'm like, food sounds good because I actually kind of want breakfast, but I can't have breakfast. Oh, well. So enjoy dinner for me. Okay, let's take a look at the flow. And maybe what we need to do is go onto this layer. I'm going to take this page right here and we're just going to trim it out. So I just put it on a different layer. That way I can move it over to here if I really want to. The other thing we got to kind of think about here is if I take this guy right here. Nope. You picked the wrong layer. There we go. So I discovered how to make Clip Studio Paint. So right now what we are doing is layout pages. So this is the comic that I'm going to be drawing, but they're just thumbnails. They're little teeny sketches of every page. So I can kind of see the overview of the story. So this whole issue is 32 pages long. So here's page 30 and 31 and 32. And over here on this side is sort of the stress of the show or of the story. So are the characters very stressed out or are they relaxed? And the way I like to do things when I do comics is the more stressful the situation, the more panels it has. So we look up here at the top and we've got 1 panel, 2 panels, 3 panels, 4, et cetera, all the way to 7 panels. And 3 to 4 is like the normal number of panels, right? So we've got 4 panels here. 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here. We don't count this one because this is a Webtoons panel. And then same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here, right? We go to 5 panels here because we're actually adding in Bennett right there. She's standing there. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here. So we're still kind of calm. But then we get into here and things get more stressy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels, right? And then one huge panel, which kind of leads. And I think I'm going to add this panel here. And then, oh, that's what I need. Thanks, honey. That solved my problem. You're like, I don't know what I did. That's okay. It doesn't matter. It's all good. We had a problem. I've been thinking about That's not what I want. I want the pen. My pen, technical pen, into 4. So this is going to be Mayrel, and her eye gets really big. Right? Brent caught on that you're here. That's all right. That's all right. We still love you. I mean, as all good friends, we'll mock you a little bit, just a little, just a little. But we still love you. It's all good. All right. So I'm going to take out this line right here because I don't feel like that's going to fit. But what I've got instead is right here. I kind of like the idea that Mayrel powers up there, powers up her instruments, and they all go check, 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 because they're all the instruments are gauges and lights and buttons because we're in space, and in space there are no PCs. So she comes in, she clack, 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 and all the things go bink, and lights go bink, 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 like that. It makes a see you later, Hone. Eat dinner well. Enjoy dinner. Enjoy the company. Enjoy your buddy. We will see you later. Okay, so all of these are showing that her instruments are powering up, and then all of a sudden she gets all of these things that come on, and she goes, uh-oh. And then there's whomp. And then we see a wave going past the kitty wake. And on the bridge, we see Bennett and Chang. Here's Chang. All right, we have Bennett and Chang looking shocked. And then Chang says, sound general quarters. And the whistle goes off and then says, general quarters, all hands man your battle stations. Okay. Yeah, he came in here, and that's a good thing. Thank you for taking care of him, second breakfast. I appreciate that. So I'm glad you guys are doing better. I'm glad you're taking care of him. Something went beedly boop. Oh. My dentist office texts me to tell me that I have appointments. And sometimes it says press 1 to say okay. And then sometimes it doesn't. But it says it after the whole long, this is your dentist and blah 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 blah. And then so you don't see all of it in the little preview window. So I just always hit 1 every time it sends it. And this time it was like, this is an automated thing. You don't need to reply. And I'm like, oh. So sometimes you have to reply and sometimes you don't. And like, freak me out there. Okay. So I think I'm okay. One thing that Kat had said, and it makes me worry a little bit. One thing Kat had said was, if you don't have what the story is about in the first 5 pages, then we're lost. So I think originally what was said here on this panel was this Jacine who is going to say something. That's what friends are for. I totally agree. I'm glad you're taking care of everything. Oh, I asked them whether you had gone into Brent. This is to Brent, not to Second Breakfast. Brent, yesterday you had asked, or yesterday we were talking about getting into NDK, and you had said something in the thread that made Paige, who was reading the thread, talk to Amanda, who's the con chair, about the fact that there was a table for you theoretically, but we couldn't find you anywhere. And so my questions were, did you apply? Did you put in an application? And if so, we've lost it. But I think what really happened was you were going to man my table, which I haven't decided whether I was going to do or not. So there's that. So that was what I'm just going to make sure that Amanda knows that so she's not freaking out. Because right now she's out there looking somewhere for your table and thinking that our system doesn't work. So I just need to make sure she knows that that's okay. Okay. So this is important. Now we have to have so that we have a quote here that comes in from somebody in the story. And then it funnels down until it makes a coffee drip and it's dripping into her cup, right? Here's her cup. And here is Chang looking at her cup. And then this is important because now the Jacine comes in and says something about the senator. That's important because we need to know what the kittiwake is up to, right? What's the kittiwake doing? Right. So this indicates that this frame is longer in the Webtoons version and will be shorter in the normal version. Right. And the only difference that we have now here is I want to add a panel up top that indicates we're in a different spot. Right. So dang it. Guess what I've learned? I've learned how to get it to select the. There we go. So one of the things I had a problem with Clip Studio was that I like and I'm used to using the click to select a layer function, which was something I only got in Photoshop and I could not figure out how to do it in Clip Studio. But the idea is wherever you click, that's the layer. You see how it switched layers over here? So if I'm on this layer, I click here and this moves. But if I'm on this layer, I click there and that moves. And that's important to me because that's how and it's a horrible workflow. This is totally back to what Brian and I were talking about. Or was it Brian and I? It was Kat and I. Kat and I were talking about the other day about not identifying our layers over here, but just calling them layer 1 and layer 2. In doing so, I end up with a bunch of layers that are called layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I have no idea what those layers are. So the way I usually find it is by clicking on the thing and then moving it. And then I go, That's the layer. Hit undo, it undoes the move, but now we're selected on the correct layer. It's a workflow thing that's probably a horrible, horrible, horrible habit. But I'm getting old and I don't really want to break up my workflow now, right? Because I mean, like, I'm already here. So, anyway, the long and the short of this is that what I've been doing here is kind of going through and fixing that. Anyway, or I fixed that. I found out how to do it. Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm trying to think of what this is. Right. Good morning, cat. I'm doing layouts still, but I'm much happier with my layouts at this moment because I'm figuring out flow, and I feel like I've been trying to solve some of the problems that some of the things you've been saying. For example, you had said that if you don't identify what the plot of the story is within the first 5 pages, it's a bad thing. So I've been trying to figure out, because the first 5 pages are pretty much my captain wandering through the ship going, "Don't talk to me, I have coffee," and drinking her coffee while the ship sort of runs around her and she's hating life and she just wants her coffee and stuff like that. So it's hard to put in the here's the plot of the story when really she doesn't want to listen to anybody. The POV character is like, no, don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to anybody. So I finally figured out what I'm going to do is have them start saying things that are parts of the plot. And then she's like, shut up. I don't want to talk to you. And then that way you still get the plot, but you get it without having to actually impose upon Chang, who doesn't want to deal with it until she has her coffee. So I think that's where I'm headed on this one. So I think that'll work, yeah, because that's what I'm saying here, like something about the senator, so that we know that the ship is supposed to go pick up a senator. You know, plot and character development all at one. Okay, I'm going to also make sure that I've got so that this is identical in a way to that. There we go. So these two panels down here don't actually help with this at all. So I'm going to actually kill them. We're going to redraw them as something else because they're part of what was going on in the pilot house. So I'm going to pull that out. And instead, entertainingly have her drink her coffee. Like, God damn it, stupid bridge. Sip. Right. So she's annoyed. She's drinking her coffee. There we go. We were just like, it's a good point. It's a solid point, and like I said, I like to have a certain amount of rules that I follow so that I can break them. Like Alex said, you have to have a certain number of rules. You have to know what the rules are so you can break them. He's not wrong. Um, okay. This is where we first see that Bennett and Chang are two different points of two different coins. Two different, not even, they're not even the different sides of the same coin. They're two different coins. All right. So there we go. I probably should put her arm on the actual switch by the door so you can see that we're dealing with that here. There we go. So I need to show that Bennett is moving past her in a way. I feel like maybe Bennett should call her Skippy for a minute, and then no, not Skippy. Like Bennett keeps trying to find newer and better ways to nickname the captain. I think that'd be funny. Skippy. So all right. Not Skippy. There we go. So I'll remember that that's one of the things. So what we're going to try to do is I'm trying to do this a different way. Some of these pages. So here is one of my problems that I've been trying to address as an author. And it's been something that I know longtime viewers like Brent have observed when I do my show, that I have always admired people who can do an entire 12-page comic without a single word, no dialogue. It's all just pictures. The way that I have been doing my stories is that my writing brain and my drawing brain are very betsu. They're very separate. And so I can't, they don't talk to each other very well. I know, right? And so I have a hard time writing scripts without actually sketching the panels. And so my thought was, why don't I just sketch the panels and then go back and write the script once I have that figured out? And, then I'll know how much space I need. And then I'll write things in scenes instead of writing things. Because, like, for example, this whole panel, this whole page right here, this entire page is not a whole lot, you know. But this two page scene really has only one panel of dialogue at all. All the rest of it's visual. right? And then we get some dialogue here. And then really everything else here is kind of meh, right? And then all we get is a few more things of dialogue when she talks to the sergeant here. And then there's all this dialogue that goes with Bennett. Yeah. Well, exactly. So I'm thinking I'm going the other direction now. I'm just going to write in notes of things that I see in my head of discussions. Like here, we're going to have Bennett and Chang as Bennett's setting up. Um, yeah, that's what I think too. I feel like maybe I should put Bennett back here so that you know that Bennett's in this scene. Right? She's here too. And that's good because they were here in this scene going up the tube to the bridge, right? We'll put Bennett still in here because she's tall. She's much taller than Chang. One of the reasons that I love using maquettes is that they will be the right size. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go find her on Twitter right now. Bring her in. Rumiko Takahashi. He loves Rumiko. Is it at? Oh, wait. It's Princess of Manga, isn't it? I am following her. Am I following the right one? I must not be following the right one because she hasn't posted anything. Comic no Nashi. This isn't the right account. I'm following Rumiko, but she's yeah, I was gonna say she's not the account that I'm following says well, okay, so the account that I'm following has a picture of her, but it says こんにちは。私、ルミ子。私はコミック本の作った漫画。Okay, wait. Rumik World, that's why. Okay, so that's run by two other people, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Oh, Ranma. I love Ranma. Mm. Jajama. Ni sasenai de. Juju sasenai de. Don't make me a shrew like you. That's cool. Okay, I did it. I subscribe to her. Well, of course she is. She's Rumiko. She's going to die with the pin in her hand. In her hand. You know that. She's just going to keel over one day. After 47 trillion pages of comic, I mean, it's just going to be like, people are going to be like, wow. Yeah. Miyazaki, who keeps walking in and then walking out and then walking in and then walking out. No. I'm done with comics. No, I'm back. But only one more. No, I'm done. I'm done doing. Yeah, Miyazaki. Somebody did a comic where Miyazaki was a cat, and I thought it was so appropriate. He was like, I'm out. I want out. I want out. Okay, I want back in. No, I want out. No, I want back in. No, I want out. Because Miyazaki is so that way. Okay. So maybe. Uh-oh. That sounds like a Brian.
What
It's
is going
definitely a
on?
Brian.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, where are you coming through on that?
I don't know. You pushed the wrong button.
Come through on my headphones. That way you're not coming through on my
Messaging me to
speaker.
tell me you're here?
Huh?
Are you messaging me to tell me you're here?
No.
Oh. Kat just sent me a link to the Twitter account for people who are monitoring Rumiko Takahashi.
What's going on with them?
And nothing, just that Kat was saying that the account usually does a lot of, sketches through to final sort of things.
Ah.
So when Brian attacks.
Dun, dun, dun.
I need the when Brian attacks button. And I have a scene setup that works really well. It has the exploding center section of the galaxy right there. If anybody's actually wondering what my background is on this, it is a radio telescope image of the center of the galaxy, looking at Sagittarius A prime, which is what we call the center core of the galaxy. And all of those lines are radiation belts that are going all over the place from all these black holes that are going blah, blah, and getting stuck together and exploding and all the things that are happening. So anyway, I haven't read your comic yet. I was gonna, but then I didn't. Because I don't know, stupid reasons probably. Because actually I am super concentrated right now on getting this figured out. So
Oh, that's okay. We're both super concentrated right now on getting pages figured out.
And I need to figure these 2 pages out, and then we need to get kind of an overview of issue 2. Because I want to have all of them laid out before I start actually composing pages.
What?
You're the only person in the office this week. Ugh.
What is that screen that you have up
What screen?
for your? What is this? The format that you have up for?
This is my layout pages, my new layout pages.
Is that
So
a setting? How are you getting into that?
what do you mean? How am I getting to it? I made it.
Do you have that template?
Would you like it?
Yes, please.
Okay. It is completely configured for me. You'll have to fix it, but I'll send it to you. The guys in the manga group page wanted it too. And I'm like, all I did was I took the thing that we had with so remember how I went to Aloha Manga Group or whatever that thing is? I don't even know.
No, I don't.
So there was a page out there called the Aloha Manga Group or something. Anyway, it's a guy who's a mangaka. He's an assistant, and he did this 3 waves of how manga works, right? So you've got kind of this wave, and we're going to get closer here. We're going to get much closer. Hang on. So you've got kind of one wave here.
Yeah, you told me about the waves.
Settles in, right?
Right.
And then it comes up and makes us. So what I did was I put it sideways on this template, and then I just laid out a whole bunch of pages that were lines going from each one of these. And then over here, I put, whether it was a right or a left page, so I would know which page I was on, so that I could get a feel of whether it was facing or not. And then panels up here, so that I knew how many panels I had, whether I wanted to do more or less panels, because the story got more stressy or less stressy. You know what I mean? And then, of course, the black line is just or the gray line is just a suggestion, because, of course, right off the bat, all of these pages are all like super slow. But that was intentional with this story, right? So yeah, so that's what this is all about. Over here.
I think Facebook compressed this.
Okay, I'll
pretty
email
badly.
it to you.
Sweet. Do you have my email?
Nope. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I'll find out. Maybe I do. I'll open my email and put it over here so that nobody's reading my email. It seems like a bad idea. Bing. Did you just send your email to me? Yep, I've sent stuff to you before.
No, that is much better than the sheet of paper that I draw 12 boxes on.
There. Now I sent it to you.
And how many pages are you doing
Andrew?
per?
It does 32 with an extra 3 on the back for anything else that you actually need. But then this dark green area is the extra 3. But it's 32 in case. And because it's manga, this guy right here with the green border is the splash at page 17. So it's set up for 2 units of 16 with a splash in the center, so that because that matches the way that it usually is put into Shonen Jump and things like that, is sort of that 16-page unit. It's 16 to 20 depending, but if you make it 16, then it makes a nice 32-page unit later on mathematically. So not a big problem when you're making tankobon, because they don't really care as long as you breach past like 300 pages. But more of an issue when you're making US comics, which are usually in multiples of 4. So there's that. Good morning, Andrew. Good to see you. I have a character sort of named after you. Kind of. Not intentionally, but later on I was like, hey, that works. And so I have a way up here. This guy right here he's a sergeant, and they just call him Sarge. He's a chakrana, which I was working on building the chakrana shell in
This will make
Blender.
writing issue 2 so much faster.
I guess it depends. His personality isn't really based off of you per se because he's grumpy and old, and you've never really come across to me as grumpy and old. So you seem very cheerful. You're a very cheerful person. I like it. Um, but the name is an homage. Just that's it. He's kind of a cranky, because he's a high-ranking sergeant. I'm grumpy and old too, but I think you and I are both like just happy and old, cheerful and old. I like cheerful and old. Better things to do than be grumpy, I think. So, anyway, he's a good guy though. This is what he's doing right here is he's got a coffee bulb, curmudgeon. Yeah, he's got a coffee bulb on his back, and he's taking the coffee up to the pilot house where he'll be giving the coffee um, to Lieutenant Mayrell, who's piloting the ship. That's her right here. So he's being nice to Mayrell because he's the radio operator, and he's in the right, and
He's a hurrah.
Well, sort of. There's a radio room directly behind the pilot house on the left side, and in the radio room, he's got control over the gravitic radio system, which all works on gravity and doesn't actually work on radio waves at all, because radio waves are way too slow. So the radio room behind there also sort of doubles as a local area weather sensing area, sort of weather and terrain and that kind of stuff is all centered in there. So it's actually called gravitics, and he's in the gravitics room, but it's really the radio room.
That sounds like a place you go for a treatment or something. Oh, he had to go to the gravitics room. Oh God, that's the third time this week.
Gravitics. Yep. No, not Skippy. Skippy, no, not Skippy. You okay? I'm on the wrong side of the wall. Long end space transitions make me mess with my sleep. And you are cheerful. That's what she's also thinking. Because with quantum entanglement, you need to have a receiver, and the receiver needs to be pre-built. So, for example, I can't just call Brian. I'd have to give him the other half of my quantum entangled pair. So I could call Brian if I have the quantum entangled pair. So in the Unity universe, the astronet has that, but you have to go to an astronet station, which will then have a quantum entangled pair with another star, and then you'll send the signal on the quantum entangled pair, and then they will relay it in to another star, and then they will relay it into another star. So that can happen at the speed of internet. So you can do that with quantum entangled pairs, but they have to be at stations, which actually works really well for the drama of my story, because they're going to pick up the girl at the end of this, but since they're on the other side of the wall, the only quantum entangled station is still quite a few light years away. So they're going to have to continue on with their mission until they can contact the Federation, so to speak, and get instructions on what to do with Alex. And by the time they do, then Chang will have decided that she's going to go rogue a little bit on this, and that'll be okay. So we have to have time for Chang to not report back to the report back to the Unity. Plot wise, we have to have a reason why she can't just report right back and say, "What should we do, sir, Admiral, sir?" You know. And so that was actually part of how I built the universe. The closest phone booth is a couple of weeks away. So by the time she gets the phone booth to phone home, she will have decided that she's keeping Alex on board the ship.
Ain't this place a geographical oddity? 2 weeks from everywhere.
So, but gravity still moves at gravitic speeds. So it's pulling on the net of it. Think of it more like pulling on a spider web, right? It moves at the speed of the spider web, which is faster than light, because each particle is only moving a small amount, but all the particles are moving a small amount. So all of the gluons that are holding the items together are all moving in a uniform amount, which means that you can see something moving through gravitically before the light of that hits your ship. So another ship in a system would make a footprint in the system that you could see the footprint of long before you saw the light coming off of the ship. Certainly long before any missiles hit you or any lasers hit you, or masers, as the case may be. So the technology sets up. That's what those tails are, called the gravity blades. Those tails that are on the back of the kittiwake. Those are gravity sensors. And they have shrouds over them so that what you can, and that's only because, television, I wanted to make it have business. So the gravity sensors are not exposed all the time. They're only exposed when you need them. And then that way you can extend the gravity sensors out. And then that way you can see physically that a ship has extended its gravity blades. And then you can go, oh, they're looking for somebody. Or, you know what I mean? We give it business so that the ship has some kind of function going on. And right now, we're being called Skippy.
Skippy?
Yep. Bennett is trying out calling the captain Skippy. It doesn't end well. She doesn't want to be called Skippy. She thinks that's
it's Skippy Longstocking.
Skippy Longstocking. Don't think she won't kill you for that in your sleep. So, my wife.
Oh no! There's a segue.
My beloved wife. You've met my wife, have you? I don't know.
Yeah, I've met your wife.
Yeah. So she has lots of freckles.
Yes.
And when she was little, she had lots of freckles. And dang it. And so, they called her Pippi Longstocking in school. So she actually.
How many students die?
She thinks Pippi Longstocking is awesome. What?
I said, and how many students died from that?
Right. No, none of her students say that. It was when she was in elementary school. When she was.
Oh, okay. So she was at a good age where being called that wasn't a slight.
Pippi Longstocking. Yeah, no. They don't really know Pippi Longstocking that much in Japan, so nobody quite caught on to that. But right? Well, it's even funnier because Bennett has had brain damage, so she very rarely follows procedure. It's one of the reasons that actually Chang likes having her around, because she thinks outside of the box a lot. But the flip side is she very rarely says sir. She very rarely remembers to do all of the appropriate things. She has learned not to call the captain Lee. That's a good thing. So, but everybody on these small ships, they call the captains skippers. So if you're on a smaller ship, you call them skippers. They're called captains on the larger ships, but the tradition is that the smaller ships, especially a corvette, they're called skippers. So she's called Skipper. So Bennett's decided this morning to try out Skippy. And like it's just a normal thing between these two. She tries something and Chang is like, no, not Skippy. Oh God, not Skippy. Stop doing that.
What am I, a peanut butter?
Right. So okay. So, but now that you've said that, I think that's the next thing Bennett will try a couple of episodes from now is Captain Skippy. Captain Skipper. Probably Captain Skipper. That'd be even funnier. Yes, sir, Captain Skipper. No, not Captain Skipper. Where are you coming up with all these things? I can totally see this going down this way,
You should, Lee starts ordering the monitoring of the television shows that
right? What's going on with you people?
No, it would be funnier. Okay, so she has this where she yells at the one character for calling her Skippy.
Bennett, yeah.
Bennett. But it would be funny if other people start calling her Skippy because they know she hates it. And
hey, Booma.
It becomes one of those pet peeve names where everybody calls her it, but she can't stop it.
Right. Right. Well, that's kind of what I'm showing here in this scene. See you later, Andrew. Thanks for joining me. It's what I'm kind of trying to show with this scene with this Jessine. He's a midshipman. And so he comes up and like accosts her with, she's trying to get her coffee. And he comes up and says something about, so we've got to pick up this senator. And I was thinking that maybe what we should do is redesign the entire blah, 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 blah. And she stops him. And she says, what time is it? And he goes, 0600? She goes, General Order 21. He goes, I'm not familiar with that order, sir. And, then the general order is no one talks to the captain about anything in larger than 2 syllables prior to coffee 30. And then
she needs to have like the little like sleep, the squinty eyes and the sleep bubble.
Yeah, look right here. Like that's exactly what I'm doing right here. Like,
yeah.
She's just watching her coffee brew. She's like, damn it, brew faster. So, okay.
So if I can get these 3 pages inked, I could probably have an editor's copy of the full comic tonight.
Is that the person you're drawing right now?
Yes.
Is that their hand?
Yes.
Thumb's on the wrong side.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Point it down. No, that's if she was doing this action. She's not. She's doing this action. Oh, wait. No. It would be more like this, wouldn't it?
This. and their hands going the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're right.
With
You're right.
fingers going up towards the top of her eyebrow.
You're right.
Yep. Time to take a 2-minute break. Stand up for a second here. See who beedly bopped me. You beedly bopped me. I'm going to get paid for 3 whole hours. Nice. Okay, there we go. Better than nothing. I'm getting paid to do training for my school. Right? General Order 21. No, talk to the captain of our unless the coffee maker is broken. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it with 2 syllables, 3 syllables. You need to do over 2 syllables.
You need to do an anime trick with Lee calling the crew and put this audio in. Hang on, let me bring this.
Wait. Before you play audio, if it's copyrighted, you know you're going to get all of these shows flagged.
Yes, that's why I'm not sending it to you that way.
I'm just saying, before you hit play, I've noticed how fast YouTube operates too. I mean, like that fast. They're like, that's it. You're blocked. What? Blorp. Go blorp.
So.
There we go. Coffee blorping. I like coffee blorping. Blorp, 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 blorp. There we go. Right. All right.
I never understood why people would put a piece of steak over a black eye.
To cool it down. Because a black eye is usually right. It requires more than 2 espresso shots. You need to stand up. That's just the way it goes, man. It's to cool it down because the hematoma will expand, and so the idea is to cool it down so that the blood vessels will contract, and then it won't spread as much, and it won't swell. It's the same reason why you'll put a bag of peas over it. It's just that the steak was brought in by like cartoons of the 50s, and so it's sort of held as sort of a trope. Now we just put ice packs on there.
Well, it's also easier to draw. Like a pack of peas would nearly
it'd be all
the visual
and
impact.
Weird.
Yeah. It wouldn't have the visual impact of a.
Who's going to write my general order book for me? Thanks, man. Okay. Let's find ourselves a pretty decent. I'm going to have a wide shot of the bridge. With the command chair here. And she's clicking buttons and things because the entertaining part of in space is there are no processors allowed. So
in space, no one can hear you process.
Yep. Absolutely, second breakfast. That's what we're here for. Anybody who wants to draw. So ask away. I mean, I should put the disclaimer of, one that it could be weird advice, but I will happily give you any advice that you want, my friend. Any advice.
Flee.
So, doing business. When I have Bennett, she's picking up this center column and pulling it out of the floor where it's parked during in-space travel. So there's that. I have her doing that. So oh, good. Good night, honey. I'm glad.
Night, honey.
So second breakfast is Hone's buddy. So that you know. And right now, okay. Hone is not doing very well mentally, so he's hanging out with second breakfast. And so I think second breakfast has put Hone to bed, cooked dinner, settled him in, and now I think she wants information of some sort or another and is picking our brain, which I'm okay with. I think that'd be great. So I'm explaining to Brian what's going on. That's Brian, by the way. Up in the corner over there is Brian. So here we go. So here's where we get, whatever. Right? I was kind of thinking about that the other day, about relationships with people and like how we all are connected to one another in one way or another. Because I was thinking about the way that relationships should work in the Unity. And if you sort of take out the aspect of trying to create children, then the relationships get very weird, because you'd end up with, like, literally, if a Jacine wanted to marry Shakrana, they cannot create kids. They're not the DNA. They don't even have, one of them doesn't even have DNA. So they can't even create children. But people are going to find relationships like that where they become really close friends, very, very best friends or whatever. And there should be a way to say, this is not a bonding for children, but this is a bonding between me and this other person. Because I think, actually, we were talking about this, and I was saying that I think by Unity rules, Bennett and Chang are married, but only because, even though neither one of them are actually interested in a homosexual relationship, that's not the point. If anything happens to Bennett, then they contact Chang. If anything happens to Chang, they contact Bennett. So, like, it's the person you call when something bad happens. And I had the same kind of relationship with a buddy of mine when I was staying at his place. And, like, neither one of us are interested in guys at all, but we were the primary contact for each other. And I think that if you got to a point where the culture just sees that and then doesn't go any further, it doesn't care anything beyond that. You can create children, you can not create children, that could be part of your connection. So, but it's kind of the same thing as what Second Breakfast is talking about, is being the mom, right? Bennett is Chang's mom. And I think that's probably the most accurate thing. She's not really Chang's mom, but Chang really does need somebody to watch over her because she's really kind of a mess. And so...
Yeah, but that's how you create interesting characters.
Right? But Chang's a mess, and Bennett's really a mess too, but in different ways. Bennett's a functioning mess. Chang is a barely functioning mess. So...
Because, like, in my comic, Brit is also a huge mess of a person.
Right.
And the group she's with now doesn't realize it because she's so new, just how much of a mess of a person she is.
Right.
But it makes the characters interesting. It makes the interactions interesting.
Well, and it's the world. Sometimes we're a mess. You know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes we just have a rough day. Sometimes we have a rough many days. Lots of days.
What's that line from Sarge in the Halo games? There's a blooper take where the voice actor goes, "Mama said there'd be lifetimes like this."
Yeah, right.
Well, what advice are you looking for?
What do you need? What you looking for? I'm all about giving you sketch advice. What advice are you looking for? Do you want to, like, how to start?
Do you want to know how to hand?
Right. So you just want, or are you just talking about how should you sketch by hand? Speaking of which, I need to get a new pencil. My pencil, I think it's gotten bent. I think the pencil thingy, lead thingy has gotten bent because it won't, I can't press the lead back in. Oh, how should you sketch hands? I get it. Okay, I'll show you.
Both artists jump in at once.
Right. We're like, all right. Okay. A guy named Bridgman in 1910 or 1930 did discuss the idea of what we call moving masses or blocks, right? So let's see how big that is. It's not that big. When I do hands, I think about the masses in the hand, right? So you start with a box, because we can all do boxes, right? Right? But then if you look at the way that this is set up, we've got 4 fingers going up out of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then we've got 1 coming out the side. Right here, like this. Right? So I actually sometimes will make this a second box that kind of goes like this. And that makes it a lot easier to see if I do that. Then I can put a thumb out like this. And then you just make sure you put all of the digits of your flanges in. And then this just bridges across like so. And then all you have to do then is just smooth it out. All right, you just smooth it out.
And then you give it a happy little digit.
All of the digits are there, right? And then this one smooths and stuff like that. For manga, they'll put just a tap to the fingertips, so the fingertip comes up like that and then comes back like so. So you don't actually draw in like the fingernail and all that stuff and sketch it and all that. That's just way too much. Everything's very gentle in manga. And so it's a very different sort of process. The best way to do this, of course, then if you do that, you can draw the hand in any way you want. So by doing the same thing, right? You put this box, and then this box kind of goes in like so, comes out that. Then you can just draw a cylinder for your thumb, and then cylinders for the flanges. Flanges with a PH is what we call the finger, the actual name of our fingers. And he just woke up. There we go, like so. Sort of, in your office. So that's how I recommend doing it. The other option, of course, is 2 circles, like so. And then doing your flanges offset, but that's kind of harder for people. That's a harder format to get everything sort of straightened out whenever you're sketching a hand. I like the 2 boxes. It's a better way of doing it. Box 1 and then box 2, like that. And then this becomes your thumb and these become your fingers. I like that one better. I prefer it, but your mileage may vary. There we go. Okay. In your office, says Andrew. Your hands are up. Does that mean you can't speak? Yeah, I can't hear you. You're silent. You've muted somehow. Somewhere along the line, you've muted. I'm not sure how that happened. Something unplugged or something. I'm not seeing the little green bars either, which say that you're making sound.
What about now?
Now! You're good now. Now I got you.
So my...
Go deal with Hone. We'll be here.
My XP pen has a loose wire in the connector.
I heard it disconnect.
Yes. And
Mine
it caused a major
time too.
It caused a major freak out of the system, and the system decided to mute itself.
I see. All right. I'm trying to decide which way is she turned, because I feel like this should be turned like that. I don't know, man. I think that definitely the one that's don't talk to the captain before coffee 30 is a general order that's coffee related. I wonder what all of the orders would be on this ship. Be funny.
You should just write down like official orders and then Lee orders.
Right.
Like, no bad news during lunch or something like.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like That's part of the humor of this. Some wacky ones. So think in the way of Marines, because I think most of these orders would come from the Marines. The Marines seem to be there are 8 Marines in the on the ship, and they are in the lower deck, and they seem to be the screwballs. They're the ones that play all the practical jokes. So the Marines would come up with weird rules, and then think about how they would mess with Navy midshipmen, because that's actually apparently their primary target is the Navy midshipmen. They love messing with the Navy midshipmen. So
they need to particularly you guys, like one should run up to a midshipman and go, "Quick! I need a cargo expander."
Well, that's I'm starting to get yellow again. I'm starting to have I'm turning robotic. That's actually what the scene up here is all about, right here, with the Jessine talking to her and the General Order 21. So I kind of feel like the general orders are all like, she made a general order that said don't talk to her when she right, exactly, that kind of stuff would be awesome. But she made an order because the Marines kept sending people specifically to pester her before she had her coffee. And so she made a general order. So then the Marines have made a general order in response to her general order, and they've been kind of having like these order rules. But since of course, all of them have to be non-impactful. They can't impact the actual ship. So they can't actually make the ship difficult to live on.
So one of the things when I was working out on the tarmac, they love to harass the new guys.
Oh yeah. When you are in a marginally dangerous environment, that's a way to blow off steam.
Yeah. So
and you could get sucked into okay, Ghost Hand, that was a good one. It's too bad. Okay, Brent, are you hearing this?
So one of the ways they messed with this guy is one of the people brought him a container and said, "This is a urine sample that needs to head out."
Okay, that was funny.
And to take it to
Ghost Hand, they're buddies, so that everybody is aware. Neither one of them are serious.
So they sent him to the upstairs management. Who said, "Okay, you need to take it to this person." And so they sent him to another person, who sent him to the pilot of this one plane that was going out. The pilot took the cup, opened it up and drank it and said, "Thanks for the apple juice," and threw it out.
Fair.
Just horrified the guy because he didn't even tell him what he was doing. He just popped it open and drank it right in front of the guy.
There you go. That's awesome. Okay. See, that's the kind of great stuff there. Oh, that would be good as a regulation there, Booma. If you were to put in, like, it must be 273 red for the stripes on the ship, and there is no 273 red. There's like a 271, and there's like a 275, but there's no 273. That seems like a great way to.
No, 270. It's 273 yellow, but
right.
But it's a red color.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, I envision, they're just having fun because, like I said, when you're in a moderately dangerous line of work, like being on the tarmac of an airport, where you could get theoretically sucked into an engine and chopped into little teeny pieces.
I have stories about that too.
You didn't witness any of that, did you?
No, I did not, but I got plenty of horror stories.
Yeah, I saw a video of a guy getting sucked through an F-14's intake, but the plane had just spun up, so he just got kicked out the back. And he was actually, he was not fine. He had broken bones, but he recovered. It totally trashed the engine, though. The engine was completely gone. Yeah, was that the same video, Brent? Yeah, it was an A6. Maybe it was an A6. Yeah. Okay, so it was an A6. I thought it was a F-14, but it's an A6. That makes a lot more sense anyway, because the A6 has got really big intakes. Whereas the intakes to an F-14 are really rectangular. But yeah, I think you're right. It was an A6. Anyway, on the deck. But it hadn't completely spun up, so the guy just blew out the back. He was like, that sucked. The smiley face intakes. Yeah, they're kind of like smiley faces. Uh-oh. There's a real story behind that video. Like it was a warning video. Don't do this. Mostly because I've seen the aftermath of somebody going through a 777's engine, and that wasn't pretty. There wasn't anything recognizable.
Yeah, one of the stories I heard was they had a guy sucked in, and the only thing that they were able to find enough to bury was a pinky.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was that's it's just a mess. That is not what you want to do. See you in a few, Brett. GNDN, actually one of the things I love about GNDN, speaking of, Yeah, I thought I had heard that the reason that he survived was his helmet jammed the machinery. So, but I think you're right. The way that a jet engine works, there are so many blades in there spinning in different directions. There is no way you could make it all the way through an engine. So, I think you're right, Andrew. That's just definitely. Oh, noes. I am no longer sounds.
Amid the sounds.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, I'm like getting glitchy. It seems like it says, oops, seems like some of your streams are having connection issues. So something's not connecting at this moment. Oh, it says I've got 10 of 10. So maybe everything's okay? Yeah, I've got green bars on everything. So it looks like I'm back.
From outer space.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing, is Ghost Hand's talking about something even more terrifying, which is depressurization. That's actually, my video and audio are out of sync. Yikes. That's actually something that we worry about a lot on the ship here. And that is video and audio being out of sync. No, about rapid depressurization. Okay. So this is some discussion going on between Bennett and Chang that involves something here going on. I'm not sure what it is, but whatever it is, Chang is feeling funky at the end of that particular statement there. So we talked about horrible, terrible horror stories. It's actually probably better that you weren't here second breakfast. And so we're in a better place that doesn't involve a lot of horrible, gross things. So, sometimes we end up being like 12 years old upstairs, and it's probably just not a good thing. 12 years old up here. Okay. It's better that way. I wish I hadn't been here for this discussion. I started it. Okay. So now I'm looking at what is she stressed out about here? She says something about something that's bothering her. Bennett replies something that makes her think. So I've got to come up with something here. I know that there is the pre-story that I was writing before. We were talking about Jen, who was the previous AI. That's all right. That's right. Sometimes my best friend always says friends require maintenance. I think he really means friendships require maintenance, but what he's after really is that sometimes you just have to maintain your friendships. So it's okay to do that from time to time. So the Jen was on the Snapdragon, or the Red Dragon, which is the ship that you see in Dock 44 Sierra. When in the part of the story where we see Mayrel arriving with Navin, they come in and we see. You know what? Let's just see if I can't find that. Blatrix Rising completes Act 1. Prologue. How much do we have in here? It's not working.
All of it.
Had a lot of things going on. Page 6, frame 2. What's going on in page 6, frame 2?
everything.
So, yep. Anyway, Red Dragon. Didn't we just do this? Oh, hang on. See you later, Booma. See you later. See you later, Andrew. Have a good day, both of you. I'm going to have to go out of here. Everything is running slow. All right. Tick, 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 tick. I don't know. I'm not reading that right now. Hang on. I'm looking for a thing. I'm finding pictures of my cat. I'm not sure what to think about it. Find lots of pictures of my cat. I spend a lot of time with my cat.
Is that the problem with frame 6? Is it's telling you it's a cat picture?
It's a cat picture. What's wrong with the cat? Huh.
Yeah, we are actually funny and nice people, and we do try to help out. So, and then we make jokes.
I was say, wait a minute.
And have strange conversations.
Because that doesn't sound like you and me. We're trouble, you and me.
We are trouble. I mean, that's beside the point. That's what makes our content fun to watch.
Oh, because we're trouble?
Yes.
Probably true. I know that I had a picture of 44 Sierra, and I don't know what's going on here. Why I can't find that picture of 44 Sierra.
He did say that to me, but yeah.
Oh. Hey, Jerry. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you for right now. That's all right. And everybody has work to do. You know, we all have work to do. And it's okay. I can't find the picture of 44 Sierra. I don't know why. It's so weird. This is why I can't take you places, you know? I'm just saying.
Who, me?
You're like, wait a minute, how did I get involved in this? That's funny. I'm really spending way too much time on this. Anyway, long and the short of it is... Oh, no. You fell asleep on her lap. Oh, no. I have that problem all the time with my cat. Well, my kid. My kid does that. He'll fall asleep, and then he's asleep on my lap, and I'm like, well, there's that. And now I'm not going anywhere. I feel you. Okay. It's all good. Help. Right? But people are heavy.
Especially full-grown adults.
Yep. People are heavy. Heck, my kid's only 12 and he's heavy. Of course, I'm getting old, and it's getting to the point where 12-year-olds are heavy.
In more ways than one.
Okay. So I'm sitting here pondering this. Is she talking about Jen from
Yes.
the Red Dragon? And if so,
Yes.
then what is she really worried about? In the preview comic, the discussion between Jen and her was that.
So what happened with the Red Dragon?
The Red Dragon shipped out. So Jen got a promotion to a destroyer. And the Red Dragon shipped out to a forward position where the Kittiwake got positioned into the wall. So if you look at our star maps that Brent hates so
Jen
much.
is the AI, correct?
Was the AI before, but she got promoted. Now she's the AI on the one of the AIs on the Red Dragon. So because a destroyer has more positions for it. You only have one position for it.
So
see you tomorrow, second breakfast.
So here's what you can do with that is have her be concerned. Have her treat Jen like a human being, like she is legitimately concerned for her friend's welfare.
Right.
And turn it into a very, very human moment where she is legitimately worried about whether or not the AI will live or die.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you could start going into some very, very deep philosophical discussions about what is a living being. And I think that could be a really, really kind of cool thing where she's treating this artificial being as if it was living. Because you don't see that. You see the other way around where people are talking about, is this AI alive?
And but not on the other side of it, which is where we are with Bellatrix, which is not only have we decided that they're alive, we decided that 200 years ago. And so it's just a given now that they're alive, obviously.
So you can go into those kind of philosophical discussions and treat it from the other side of the coin, where it's they're alive. So how, like, even if they were to take the backup program and make it, it wouldn't be Jen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It would act the same,
else.
And it would talk the same, and it would look the same, but it wouldn't have the same life experiences as Jen did.
Right. So it'd be effectively. It says flavor. It wouldn't have the same flavor.
It would effectively be a new being.
Yeah.
So you can have those philosophical discussions, and Bennett would actually be the perfect one to do that off of because she's not looking at it from the same way.
Right. Well, and this
and not to be cruel, she isn't trying to be cruel by taking the one side of, well, she's artificial. She would understand that, but she would also be, would Jen be truly gone? Like she could take the other side in trying to comfort her captain.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Although I feel like, in a way, the way that this story is set up, that would be kind of like you and I having a discussion as to whether black people are real people or not. Like, we're past that part of our history. And so having that discussion would be, not only would it be uncomfortable and weird, it'd be...
Yeah, but it would also be appropriate to nowadays, because look at how many people are trying to...
Well, one
like it's gone really, really...
But we'd be arguing from a different point.
Yeah.
We'd be arguing from a different point of view. And it'd be almost like you arguing the point that if my buddy who's black were to die in war, it'd be all right because we'd have another person who's black that would take his place. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of like, you know what I mean? It becomes sort of this like horror story really quick between the two of us. Where it'd be like, what?
I mean,
you know, so I think that that's where they are in this position. I think you're right, but I want to do it from a different point of view. So I think what I really want to do is I miss.
See you second breakfast.
Yeah, she left a while back.
Oh.
I think I want to do I miss Jen and Bennett misunderstanding what that was about would say, I think Navin will be fine. And of course, part of the problem is that Navin's only 3 years old. And so one of the things that Chang is worried about is that he's too freaking young. I mean, he's technically old enough to be operating a ship, but he's only 3, and that's really young. And so she's really worried that he's going to be too impulsive or whatever, and that will give you.
Okay, so that's going into a computer debate. How old is old enough for a computer?
Right. But that's the other thing. That's what's interesting about this discussion. Okay, so, you know, so this is I miss Jen. There, something like Navin is going to be fine, or something like that. Anyway. And then she just sits there and says, you know, he's 3, right? Like, you know, he's 3 years old, right?
You're treating him like a child. He's well beyond that.
Right, exactly. And she's like,
I have so many characters with ponytails right now that it's actually
this will give
starting
us
to annoy
an
me.
interesting. There. So she says you talk like he's a child. There we go. That's we'll have to come up with a better way to kind of put this because we're talking about somebody we haven't seen on screen yet. So we'll have to come up with a way to.
Yes, we have.
All connect.
Yes, we have.
We haven't seen Navin yet.
Oh, you haven't introduced the new character, the new
right,
AI?
We haven't introduced Navin. So they're talking about somebody that we haven't. Well, okay, so Navin has been in the intro comic that I've been building, and so has Jen. So we're talking about 2 characters that have existed in previous things, but aren't in this issue yet. Navin will be in this issue starting in the second half. So he shows up in the second half.
So make the first half about her worrying about whether this new AI can handle what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying is, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
and then you don't have to do anything because you're introducing the character, or at least the reactions that she would have that'd be natural. It's like Navin gets installed later today.
right, because he's not online yet, because he can't be online. They're in space, and AIs can't exist in space, so he has to be shut down.
Yeah, so have her talk about, we're getting this new AI today. He's going to be installed, and have her just voice her concerns.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to handle it.
We just need another. I need another line here. Like, I need a that's random. Because it is. She's gone from I don't sleep well and in space to I miss Jen. So it's completely random, which makes sense. She's sleepy and weird, but Bennett needs to say something like, that was random. You've gone from not sleeping well to personnel issues, or something to kind of give the transition a little bit of a buffer so that the audience knows that we're now talking about random, swapping out of artificial intelligences.
So there's a quote about Lovecraft that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that whenever I try to designing characters, is to say that Lovecraft was a man with issues is an insult to issues. He is a pile of issues in the shape of a man. And I always kind of like that quote.
Yeah, you went from sleep disorders to transferred personnel. There we go. The new guy is 3, right? That's the transition I was looking for. Because it was just rough. She's sitting here going, wrong side of the wall, long in space transitions mess with my sleep. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, she says, I miss Jen. And then Bennett now says, that's random. You went from sleep disorders to transferred personnel.
Yeah.
That at least allows the audience to follow where Chang is going, because Chang just wandered all over the place. Hey, Lovecraft, that's a lovely cat. What's his name? Oh, no.
No!
Man.
Like, it's hard to discuss Lovecraft without discussing his neuroses, because he has a lot of them, and they are very influential into his very racist works.
Right.
And even at the time, people were going, dude, that's racist.
Right.
During a time in which racism wasn't frowned upon like now.
Right. He had issues. Oh no, an Irishman. I'm going insane. Oh, man. Okay. So I don't want to call them AIs. Welcome back, Brent. You're here just in time for the discussion that we're having now. They don't want to be called AIs. The offense would be too artificial.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I just got a thing that says, oops, seems that one of your streams is having connection issues.
Are you up in the yellow now? Now you're going to sound like a robot.
I have no idea. It looks like I'm in green.
Look over on the left where all of the streams are.
It says I'm green.
Okay, then you should be fine. Synthetic. Should we call them synthetics? What does that sound?
It sounds like something out of Whale and Connie.
Because it ends up being synths for short.
Yeah.
But it also sounds more like an android. I guess it doesn't really matter. Android, because they're going to come up as holograms. They always do. They show up as holograms, which in this universe, holograms are, it's every ship is just one big happy holodeck. So you can press on them, you can push them, they can stop you, you know.
You know, you could have fun with this character.
Holographic, HLF. I have fun with all my characters. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking this one. When you first introduce him, have him. What's his name again?
His name is Navin.
Okay, have Navin. You know, they install him and he loads up and he goes, "Hi, I am Navin. What is your medical emergency?"
Right.
Just to fuck with them.
Please state nature of your medical emergency. I'm a doctor, not a light bulb.
And just have that moment where Lee is just like, "Oh God, what did we just get?"
Right. So one of the standing rules of Bellatrix Rising is that I try to make it so that all of these guys are perceived as different things. Like, here's a great thing. This is exactly what I'm kind of looking at here, which is Bennett is like, you're talking like he's a child. 3 is totally adult for a synthetic life form. And she says, no. I don't have any problem with that. My problem is he's young and eager, and I'm afraid he's going to get us killed or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, her argument isn't something to say about him being synthetic. Like, Bennett's starting to kind of go into the, are you making a racist comment against this character? You know, sort of thing. And she's like, no. He's just an eager beaver. And I missed the calm serenity of Jen. She was like our mom. She was the mom, right? And that makes more sense as a discussion. It allows us to indicate that there's a life form called a synthetic life form. It allows us to have the discussion about the fact that they are synthetic and that 3 is considered old enough to be an adult. And it also then doesn't go into the sort of the old trope of let's talk about whether computers are actual living beings or not, because I want to be one step down the road from that.
Yeah, beyond that.
So
that makes sense.
This is more of a no. It has nothing to do with that. He's just so eager and he's so bouncy, and then you're talking about, then it gives the depth that says synthetics in this story have personality just like us, and some of them are calm and some of them are spazzy and some of them are eager beavers and stuff like that. Stuff like that. That's so let's go on ahead. No. He's just so eager.
But it makes it sound like she's met him.
Yeah, she met him. She installed him.
Okay.
They met before departure.
Okay.
That's so the comic that we were just doing that we got stopped because we didn't have all of the Bay 44 Sierra built. The model for 44 Sierra wasn't built yet. Now it is. HiCell. Oh, I like HiCell. Holographic silicon life form. Ooh. I like that one too. But think about this from a different point of view, because remember, we went through an AI war in the story. It's 11:02, so we're going to have to get going. But before we go, we went through an AI war where they fought to be considered equals. If we had to fight, I like HiCell too. If we had to fight to get to be considered equal, would we want to be referred to as meat bags?
No. Have them referred to it as the 5th Industrial.
He locked up right then. 5th Industrial what?
Revolution. Because we're under right now the 4th Industrial Revolution, and that is the rise of the AI. You could say that the 5th Industrial Revolution was the AI wanted to be treated as equal. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I'll note that because it's not here.
Industrial Revolution. And that way it sounds less negative and less like they were fighting, mano a mano and killing each other, and more like it was a civil rights thing.
Right. Well, it was a civil rights thing.
Yeah. Well, it was a civil rights movement, but it was a revolution as well, because they were no longer treated as slaves. They were treated as equals. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep, I agree.
Okay, I have 2 pages inked so far, and I need to ink one more page.
I like HiCell too. But I
that's
think
a good name.
We'll still have to. I'll put the note in the margin here. But if you call them HiCell in the open like that, nobody's going to know what it's called. Or maybe maybe we do call it HiCell. Maybe that's what they're called, is HiCell. 3 is totally adult for a HiCell.
Yeah, and you can call them HiCell and just call them, and then when you introduce the new character, have the new character go, "What's a HiCell?"
Right, we'll get there. But it'll also be pretty obvious because at the beginning of the next section of the story, the ship drops into subluminal. And as soon as the ship drops into subluminal, they drop out of the Heisenberg problem, which is part of the problem is that they have a Heisenberg issue once they go faster than light. The processors can no longer run because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You can run things like a light switch, but you can't run a processor. So lights work, gauges work, but anything that requires very micro-sized processors, what happens is the faster you go, the more an electron moves back and forth like this. And so its uncertainty is fine in a huge wire, like a copper wire. Having the electron move like this in a copper wire won't hurt. But in a very small micro thread inside a microprocessor, having an electron start doing this, you can't tell whether it's on the on or off position because of where it is. So processors no longer work at high speed, but once they drop out of warp, so to speak, everything goes back into normal space once they're in normal space. So what'll happen is we are over here in the story with our pilot, Mayrel, as she powers up the pilot house, and there's something bad that happens, and we go through all of this stressy stuff right here. And then she drops out of in space, and as soon as she does, they find out, A, that they're not where Moment is supposed to be. So the planet's moved, which is part of the reason why everything's screwed up. And B, as soon as they do, Navin goes and just appears in the other chair up in the pilot house with her and says, "Hey, how's it? Oh no, everything's bad." Because like he's all happy to show up, thinking this is just a normal. And then he's like, as soon as the sensors start coming online and the gravity sensors start coming online, and he can start doing gravitic checks, he's like, "Uh-oh." So yeah, I feel like they would see artificial intelligence as like the N word. We wouldn't want to use that. So I think Heisel's great. Hassel? No, let's not do Hassel. Heisel's fine. I like Heisel.
Because the other way is just a hassle.
Yeah, the other one's just a hassle. So I think we.
Although you could do that as a joke, that the Heisels have is, oh, he's just a hassle. Don't worry about him. For the older, like it's the younger ones referring to the older AIs that have been around for a long time. Is they slang call him a hassle.
I actually just got a message from Alex saying that he can't walk with me today. So I'm actually in no hurry to dump or to get out of the show if you're not in any hurry to get out of the show.
I'm not in a hurry right now.
So this is good because I kind of feel like I'm on a roll and I'm kind of happy with what I'm coming up with here. And I feel like I have done a good job of piecing in that small bit of discussion that's going on there.
I'm in kind of the same position right now too, where it's I am like rocking this,
Yeah, me too. Kind of cooking along. I'm doing good. I'm gonna love this splash right here is gonna be kick ass. I'm just saying.
And I don't know why, but I love the fact that this character's shirt is "Put me in, coach." Like,
yeah, put me in, coach. I finished modeling up her coffee mug last night, and I'm like, I've got to put something on there. And I think what I'm going to put is world's okayest captain, and then cross out captain and put skipper on there. And all of it's going to be in Tamarbeshi, so you won't be able to know what it's saying, but it'll still look like it'll say, something, something, something crossed out something, So to still look personal, but I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it say world's okayest captain on her coffee mug. And then she's crossed out captain or written skipper. And I think that'd be hysterical.
But do it in handwriting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Specifically,
right. It's going to say it in normal writing, world's okayest captain, because I think that's funny. But it's all got to be in Tamarbeshi. Otherwise, it doesn't look right, Because it's part of the discussion of everything in the future now has a different language. A lot of this first 16 pages is establishing aspects of this world. And as little as I possibly can get away with, just enough to give you what's going on without actually making you, I don't want to beat you over the head with it. So having it written in Tamarbeshi is perfect because then it's like, oh, okay, so they don't write in the same language.
That's kind of what I did with this. Is the first half of the comic is literally just setting up what's happening in the world, and now that Brig has met the unit that she's joining, she has just data dumped some very important things onto them, and now they're discussing it internally of, oh my God, what's happening?
Right.
Because even though they don't trust her and they don't like her, she said something that they can't just blow off.
Right. The other thing is, didn't we somewhere along the line we were building a hull for the spacesuit. And I can't find it now. Because this picture right here, this is my splash, has Princess back here with her legs extended, standing inside the rubble of a building with the kittiwake behind in the upper corner, like hovering, with Chang standing here, but she's in pressure suit because even though it's Moment, and Moment is one of the only planets, especially on the other side of the wall, that actually has an oxygen nitrogen atmosphere, the fires and the destruction of this city are so bad that the doctor says that you all have to be in spacesuits with recirculating oxygen. So they're in spacesuits. But I know we built the frame of the suit somewhere along the line. And I can't remember where I put it. It's aggravating too, because it's like, I don't want to have to do this again. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's go to desktop, holding, nothing out here. Something out here. Okay. Okay. Wing Defender, Windjammer gear up. Wow, that's old. Nate's house, table thingy. Have anything that says says me. How far back did we go? Well, I mean, okay, well, if we've got to build a new one, at least we have the ability to do so. I'm also much faster at stuff now, so. All right. Crap.
Bless you.
Oh, just that doesn't work The zoom in, zoom out key doesn't work on Blender. Okay, you need to be white because I can't see you.
It is fun what we're both kind of working on and dealing with our particular comics are kind of mirroring each other.
Yes. Okay.
Even though we have completely different stories in completely different genres.
Right. Can we not and just do that? Oh, we are connected? Let's not be connected. That's bad.
Because, like, I'm dealing with. So while you are kind of, I wouldn't say shying away, but you are approaching the discussion of AI from a very kind of philosophical correct way where it's they've now dealt with this issue, let's move on. This comic, I'm going the other way with it, where that hasn't that discussion, this is the first time they've really started to deal with
Just
this
struggle
discussion. With it. And so things are like they are referring to this character as being a fake. And so I am jumping straight into it and just they are calling it what it is, and this other character is not having it.
Right. Raising the person. Feel like you didn't do what I wanted you to do. That explains why you were a little wonky. There we go. Okay. Bring her up 90 degrees. Now we've got the ability to look at this model this way. Good. Let's build that chest piece again, which we built once. And for reasons that I'm still not quite sure about, she's missing them. So
watch, you'll find it later.
I'll find it later. It's all right. You know what? It won't take that long for me to build a new one. Cube. I'll make this smaller. Dang it. She's like all crooked. There we go. All right. Let's get this squared away. Warning, digital nudity. I am making armor. Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. Hi, Joan. I am, so hang on. We'll go back here. This is the splash that will be at the mid page of my comic. And this is my main character. This is Princess, the shuttlecraft that they have. And then up here is the Kitty Wake, which is the ship. And I was saying that the second half of the story takes place on in a disaster zone. So bad things have happened. And so she has to wear, the doctor has told her that she has to wear a full spacesuit. She has to be in full spacesuit. So that's what we're doing at this moment, is we're putting her in her full spacesuit. We're going to build the spacesuit real quick. So we'll be coming in here and put this like there. And actually, I think these guys have to be up higher because we are going to be moving. We need to come down sort of sideways on this. But yeah, I was going to I was going to just pull the one that I had already built, but apparently I have naked maquettes. Yep. Like I said, digital naked warning for those of you who are offended by digital naked maquettes, which worries me if you are. Okay, we're going to go to here in the midline. And then that way I only have to build the left half of this, which is much better than building the whole thing. Okay, so the uniform has a seam that runs up the center point. So I'm going to run and chase that seam on the uniform here and just push out to there. And then we will do this. We will extrude. Put that there. We'll push down and over. So we're going to come out to here-ish. And push out. Like I said, I'm much better at this today than I was when we did the first set of these. So it's probably better to do this anyway. Extrude. And we'll do this. And this guy can come up like so. And this will go like so. And then that'll give us the ability to kind of get around this corner here without being weird, any more weird than usual anyway. So we'll take this part right here, and this guy will push it back. It's going to be here. And this guy push him back. There. Oh, so to Brent and others like Ghost Hand and things like that, when we will be moving to nights so that I can go back to teaching at my driving school. However, Friday, I will still do the normal 9 to 11 show. So you can still join me on Fridays and it'll be fine. And the reason for that is because Friday nights, I go to Troy's house and watch shows. And we watch TV, and it's a family affair now because like my wife goes with me and my kid goes with me, and we all watch shows together and stuff. So I'm going to record my show on Friday and then play it Friday night, or I actually probably will just play it Friday night. But I wanted you guys to know that if you guys are having a hard time watching me during the day, I will still be here on Fridays. Okay, moving that in there. Moving this forward. Right, so if we're looking at this here, we now have this piece kind of going in here like so. It's not bad. I actually think I probably want to bring this piece up, just the front piece, like so. So there we go with that. Go directly forward. Make sure you guys are actually at the same altitude here. Now we're just going to take all of you and we'll extrude again. Look at us going sideways. Off to the side. That's all right. It's okay. To about mid collarbone. And then we'll extrude up again. Come up to here. Then we'll come across here. And then go this way like so. And then come out to here and then up to there. We're not going to be able to easily see where we're going at this point in time until we do this. We have to be in naked mode so that, well, I mean, obviously we're in naked mode. Okay, I'm fine.
Oh, no. The nudity is not my sensitive eyes.
I know. We've ruined you.
I'll never be the same again.
All right. There we go. All right, so kind of coming forward like so. I think I want these pieces to be back. How much of that do I want to come back? All of it. Okay, good. Perfect. So I just bring that back to here. And all of you guys come back too. Boy, do those trucks drive you crazy at night?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, that's seriously loud. I come here.
And that's not even the loudest ones.
No,
that's
it's not.
like that's quiet.
That's
compared to some of the ones that I have to deal with.
Okay, we'll come in here and then we'll come back here and go to about there. And up to here, like so. And what we're doing now is I'm just building in kind of this front chest plate. Which, whoa, I've got crossed over here somehow. Let's not do that. That was just going to make my life miserable. And we'll move this back so it's here. And actually, I'm looking at like most of it looks like what's going on in the back is not good. So we're going to go through there and then we're going to come up through these guys here and push them back so that they're out the back. So at some point in time, I was saying this before, the Marines wear this armor too. It's just it's a different color for the Marine armor. Make that go there. And come up like so. Let's take a look. We want it to be higher than her. And we want it to be level is what we want. So I'm using, right now I'm using Blender for this. We're just doing this. We are both using Clip Studio Paint for this guy, for the main drawing portion of things. But I build everything in 3D so that I can do instant rendering of the backgrounds. It takes a lot of front loading, but once the front loading is done, I don't have that much work to do after I've done that, and I can just render backgrounds like this, and they're all done. And then I render the characters, and they're in, and it actually takes me no time at all to do entire pages. I did 4 pages in like 2 days, and 2 pages a day is insane for me, not for Brian, but it's insane for me. So 2 pages a day is generally like 2 pages a show. So 1 page an hour is usually what I'm at that point in time. So if I were to do an 8-hour day, I'd be able to pull out 8 hours worth of stuff. So
I take a pen and I just draw it.
Right. Right, but
our techniques are very different.
The difference in techniques are different. Also, George came over and just decided to visit with me. So he's just being a cat and being all George-like. And so he came over to see what was going on. Now he's just purring. You can kind of hear it.
But yeah, our techniques are very different for what we're trying to get out of our comic. And there's nothing wrong with the way either of us do things.
Nope.
It's just it's different.
Yep. I get very sensitive about inconsistency, and it really bothers me. And so the maquettes came about to keep me consistent. For example, Chang is, I think she's 140 centimeters tall. So she's like 5 foot, 4'9" or 4'11", maybe 4'10". She's very, very small and petite. Whereas Bennett is 185 centimeters. I think she's 190 centimeters. So that puts her almost at 6 feet. She's huge. And when I was drawing them without using the maquettes, I'd forget that while drawing it. And then as I inked them in, I would have them looking eye to eye. And then after I had spent hours on the page, I would suddenly realize that I really need to redo this entire panel, because there is no way that Bennett would be, unless Bennett's kneeling down, she cannot be looking eye to eye with Cheng. And in fact, if you look at the drawings of these two talking, these two are talking to each other, and I have completely remembered it here and completely forgot it by the time I got over here. So it is not an uncommon thing for me to do that. So I use the maquettes to remind myself that they're different sizes, because Cheng is supposed to be little. It actually was funny. Raph was like talking to me, and he's like, I was just noticing that Cheng looks really young. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, was that intentional? And I'm like, very. Cheng's entire colony was doing genetic modification, and they modified her. And all of the generations, they were modifying them to be smaller and thinner. And it started with, they'll be good for spaceships if we make everybody small. But later you kind of caught on that it was infantizing the females of the entire colony. They were infantizing them. So computer assisted consistency, yes. But that's very intentional as to why Captain Cheng looks like she's like 14 or maybe 13. It's intentional. It's very, very, very intentional. It's going to be brought up at some point as to what her colony was doing to the women of that colony, specifically the women of that colony, because it was not a good thing. So,
if you really wanted to make it an interesting point, like, and really have some deep philosophical discussions about it, is make that standard that they were going to was their main export.
Yeah, they hadn't gotten to that point, but I think they were headed there.
Yeah. Like,
they were headed there.
That, and that would give a reaction.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of ew going on here.
And even have Bennett say, or not Bennett,
Cheng.
Chang. Even have Chang say, yeah, there's a reason why we don't talk about
what happened. Yeah.
What happened.
But yeah, because it was not a pretty thing, but it was absolutely intentional. All right. So they can give her shoulder lights, because I love the shoulder lights thing. That looks cool. There we go. So now she's got shoulder lights. That helps a lot. Okay. Yeah, it was actually really funny, because apparently Raph thought that I was doing it for some other reason. I don't know what he thought. Kind of disturbed a little.
I think you still disturbed him.
He actually liked it a whole lot once he found out that it was intentional and that was the design. He thought that was way cool all of a sudden, because it's part of the story now.
Yeah, it isn't you being a creepy mangaka.
Right. Instead of being a creepy mangaka, because he was like, I know you've been drawing her without any clothes on. And I'm like, yeah? And? I mean, that's part of the story as well. He's like, but she looks like she's 14. I'm like, she isn't. She's 35 and has had a child. She's very much not 13.
Yellow. Okay, give me a couple minutes and I'll be in there. All right, bye.
Was that lunch call? Is that lunch call?
That was lunch call.
Yep.
But I'm quickly going to try to finish this off because I just have a couple of word balloons to do.
Sounds like a thing. I think I will. I'm liking where we are here. I think I can just mirror this and it'll be fine. First, make sure you're on the alignment. Yeah, because it's not going to mirror well if you don't align it. Now, the other thing is this guy needs to come down. This is a light. It needs to be level before I start mirroring things. I'll probably put an end to the show at that point and just go get my lunch as well, and I'll just keep going until tomorrow, or keep going, and then we'll be back tomorrow.
But so tonight, are you going to go to the thing?
Yes.
The
art club. I love our art club. You gonna go?
Yes.
Okay, so you know where we start and how we finish, right?
I think it's the tea house over to the game shop.
We start at the tea house and then we end up at the game shop. So just so you're cognizant, because I know that is confusing. It has confused people in the past. So there's that. So okay, I'm gonna put this. Just kind of go on like that. I like putting. It's gonna put little shoulder pads on her. That'd be cool. Because in the end, honestly, legitimately, this is going to look like CR5 riding armor, which is the armor that they wore in or CVR3 riding armor, which is the riding armor that they wore in Robotech Series 3, the new generation. So it's the riding armor that they were wearing, which I think will be cool.
All right. Well, I have to hop off.
Okay. I'm going to go on ahead and end too because it's now 11:38 and I actually am kind of hungry. So I'm going to go eat and I will see you. Thank you for joining me, by the way. I really appreciate that. I'm going to go on ahead and...
You're welcome.
And yeah. And thanks for being here, Joan. Thanks for being here, Brent, Ghost Hand. And of course, both Umi and Jen, who Hone and Second Breakfast. So, we'll see all of you guys tomorrow. Same cat time, same cat channel. Because it's George. I'm referencing George. George. And so it was good to have all of you guys here. Andrew was here. We had a lot of people here today. This is a good show. So cool. Well, as always, I'll see you all later and keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.
Bye.
Computer, good night.